So you saw a pretty cool piece that they did for Chuck when he was, like I mentioned, inducted into the Hall of Fame, and still trying to get our next guest in here, by the way, as well, and tackling some technical difficulties. Coming up at 10:30, though, our friend Ernest McBride will join us. Ernest has worked here for 26 years. Ernest has been here a long time. Knew Chuck very well. Coming up closer to the bottom of the hour, JT Fellows, a former co-worker, will join us as well. And I see that our technical hurdle is over with now. So, and then Wes Carroll coming up at 11 o'clock as well. I am very honored, though, this morning to be joined by my good friend KW Keene from down in the Dothan area. KW, can you hear me, sir? Let me make sure I've got his audio here. How about now? 1, 2, 3. Let's.
Check. 1, 2.
There we go. Yep. All right. So we may be encountering a bit of a cell signal hurdle here, but there we go. Looks good now. KW, my friend, down at 99.7 WOOF FM in Dothan, and live on air right now too. So we got to be brief here. But KW, how you doing, my friend?
Good, my brother. Just thinking about our good friend.
Yeah, I want to ask you, how long ago was it when you met Chuck?
I met Chuck in 1978. I got a real quick story I can tell. Stories. WKMX and Enterprise. My first night when I get there, the 7 to midnight guy's working. Chuck is there because he had been doing some production, so he was there late that afternoon. And so after about 10 minutes, here's how I am introduced to Chuck Leonard. The guy on the air says, "Hey, Chuck, show KW where your KMX sticker is." And for the people that don't know, Chuck had a prosthetic leg. So he rolled his pants leg, and in the middle of his leg is a KMX sticker. So I'm like, okay, this is going to be interesting. And so while the guy's on the air, he's doing some things, and so Chuck kind of motions. He's pull my leg. So he takes his leg off. He gets behind the board. He just takes the leg, kind of lifts it up.
Our KW, our signal froze up on our end. When you moved the phone to your left, it was working very well a moment ago. So if you want to try that real quick, if you can hear me, we may have dropped our signal here. Goodness, technical problems. There he is.
And the funniest story I'm going to say for last, and I'll shut up. I know you're on for time here, is that the rock group back in the 70s, Dr. Hook, they were called Dr. Hook in the Medicine Show. They dropped the Medicine Show, became Dr. Hook. Well, we were in Enterprise. Dothan is about 30 miles from Dothan. They were going to be in concert that night. No cell phone, so we get a call from the promoter saying, "Hey, we'll be at the studio in about 20 minutes." So Chuck says, "Hey, why don't you go to the back door and greet them?" Well, now before I got to set it up, sometimes Chuck would take his leg off because he said it would get sore. So he takes his leg off, he puts it in the middle of the floor. So the two guys from Dr. Hook, they drive up on the bus and they're in their socks. They come up the back steps, and let's just say they smelled of an herbal called marijuana. Okay, so they walk. Is a leg with a shoe, a sock, and a KMX sticker. And one of the guys looks at the other and he goes, "What in the world is that?" And without hesitation, I said, "Gentlemen, that would be Chuck Leonard's leg." So that's just some of the antics at Chuck. He was a he was a very talented guy. And for the people that are watching that are on radio or TV will understand what I'm talking about editing. He was a master back in the days of tape. That's where I learned how to edit, how to splice, was from Chuck Leonard, because he was just so good. And he was always good with people. He always had a great personality. And he and I talked at least a couple of times a month for the last 20 years. We kept in touch. And what I'd like to tell everyone is that, look, talk to that person, because, you know, less than a month ago, I was talking to Chuck, and then all this happened. Now he's gone. That shows you how time can, you know, things can change.
Yeah, and we just had no idea. You're absolutely right, KW. And you and I have been friends now for a long time, and we've lost some good friends through the years. You know, and Chuck's one of them. And I just want to.
And the other one that we lost that I forgot to mention that was a part of the morning team was Connor Vernon. It was Vernon and Leonard in the morning, and they were awesome. I'm telling you, great morning show.
And still ultra popular and recognized all these years later down there as well. And so I have folks talk to me about Vernon and Leonard all the time from back in those days.
They were awesome. It was that time of, you know, in radio, it was just a lot of fun. And just like that, I think you saw the drop that I posted on Facebook.
Yeah.
Audio.
Uh-huh.
That's the kind of personality, that's the kind of humor that Chuck Leonard had. He was just a fun person, just loved life. And like I said, changed life by him having a prosthetic leg and making fun. I knew people that would sit around and woe is me, maybe try to milk the government or something. I don't mean to be mean, but not Chuck. Chuck, you never listen. We played just like you guys have a military base, Fort Benning. You know, we have Fort Rucker, Alabama, right up the road from us.
Uh-huh.
So we played in 1979. We played. I can't remember which division it was. When we KMX, we played baseball. And they beat us like 29-2. Now you got to understand, we're in our 20s. We're not that bad, but these guys were in real good shape. But where I was going to go is you would see Chuck Leonard run around the ball field with that prosthetic leg, and you never would have known if he had pants on. He had shorts on, of course. You would have never known that he had a prosthetic leg. That's just the type of person he was.
Before you came on, I was telling folks a little bit about that was probably something they didn't know about Chuck, that watched him on TV all those years. And I saw one of his family members mention online, and I know you got to go here in a second, but they talked about that was difficult for him. I mean, that was a stringent recovery, a long process to get to the point where he could move comfortably with that thing as a young man. And he never let him get him down. He just, you know, kept on trucking, and that was kind of his MO in life, right?
Yeah, it was. And like I said, when I found out, when he told me the story about how it happened, and he made it was funny. And I'm thinking, after I heard that story, I said, you know, life's really not that bad, because here's a guy that, like I said, and I have to tell you this real quick too. You'll love this. So we had a part-timer that worked with us that was kind of gullible, okay? And so Chuck one day walks in and goes, listen, man, I'm glad today's payday. He goes, why? He says, I got to make a trip to Dothan. He goes, what do you mean? He said, I got to go to the Dothan, whatever it was. He said, I've got to make a payment on my leg or they're going to repossess it. It's so the guy was like, I mean, I had to pull him aside. I'm going, you do know he's kidding, right? So anyway, that's just the type of humor. I mean, that's the type of guy he was. He never let it get him down, and was always just always wanting to help people. And, you know, as I read all the tributes, and of course, you and we had a chance to go to his retirement party back in, was it 2019?
Yeah.
And, you know, as I looked around the room, I'm thinking of this is what you call legacy.
Absolutely.
All these people showed up, and all the things that I've read over the weekend, and I thought about it. He was on TV, and just like Carol, his wife, had shared that, you know, they would go out and he loved to meet people, and and he loved to be recognized, not ego, but because someone would come up to him and say, "Listen, man, because you said this or whatever, you really touched me." And when Chuck said thank you, he really meant it.
Yeah, certainly did. He was a good man and a good friend. And KW, I look forward to seeing you again soon. I wish it was under better circumstances, but we're going to have to make a point to hang out more, my friend. And I look forward to seeing you at Chuck's service coming up in January. Thanks so much for joining us this morning, brother.
We will do it, and thank you, my friend, and I appreciate it, and God bless you.
Absolutely. That's KW Keene. You can hear him on 99.7 Wolf FM. Honestly, if you're down at Fort Benning, you can probably pick him up. So it's a big stick radio station from the Dothan area, and a good friend there from Dothan as well. Another good friend.